seconds. Takes a second. Okay, we're up now, and I just gotta activate this right now. Let me find this where I put it. There we are. Right here. There. You are live. Click view. View on Facebook. And what did I do? All right. Click privacy iron. All right, hold on. Okay. We'll wait till we've already got some people coming on, but we'll let's see. Find stream. Click view. View right here. View on Facebook. Next. Privacy.
I'll see if I get some way I could tag it to my page.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. Let's see. Yeah, for some reason, I'm having this privacy iron for stream.
Okay, yeah, it's on my page.
Okay, good. It's perfect. Yeah. The title, John, is Mr. USA and UltraFit founder John Defendis interview. So, I just got to find this one little icon, and we'll be all set. Of course, it's always.
Can you see the comments on there?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see them on. I don't see them on here, but I can see them on my phone though.
Oh, really? Okay, well that's good.
Hey, Mike, it's Kenny. Yeah, Kenny Wallach.
Oh, Kenny Wallach's on. Good.
Yeah.
You know Kenny? I've known Kenny, Jesus, over 30 years.
I know Kenny now. Hi, Kenny. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Kenny's a good guy. He's real successful now with the with the posing.
Oh, he does. He teaches posing.
Oh yeah, he's like the guy.
Kenny. Yeah. Kenny from New Jersey.
No, he's from Connecticut, but Kenny Wallach.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know, but I know Kenny now. So hey, Kenny.
Yeah, we got a bunch of people on now. Kenny, hey Kenny, what's up, man? War and Peace. What's up, my friend? Elisa is a very good supporter, and she donated to the animals. Not only did she buy an MTFU book, but hey, everybody, since you're all checking in, I'm here with my very good friend, John Defendis. John, I'll ramble for a second. You're going to do most of the
Cedric Big Guns Tally.
Cedric is here, of course. Cedric, yeah, Kenny said he's Jersey too. No, you're going to do all the talking, John. I don't like interviews or keep interrupting, but I'll do a little preamble here. John, he's like the guy. What's that, John?
No.
No.
Okay.
You're gonna do all the talking, John. I don't like interviews or keep interrupting, but I'll do a little preamble here. I don't know why I'm getting like a reverb here. He's like the guy.
You might need to use earbuds. Do you have earbuds?
I don't.
That's okay. Okay, we're okay. We're good.
All right. Well, let me just introduce John Defendis here. Very famous, legendary bodybuilder from the 70s and 80s. 1983, Mr. USA. Yeah, having a real problem here with the.
Is that on coming out of your phone?
I'm not sure, John. Hold on. Very famous, legendary bodybuilder from the 70s and 80s. 1983. Mr. USA. Yeah, a real problem.
Is that on coming out of your phone?
I'm not sure. We should be okay now, John.
Okay.
I think I fixed it.
All right, great.
Everybody. Sorry, with technology and Michael Dusa, there's always a snafu. And I'm glad we got even more people. We didn't really lose any. John Defendis, legendary in the world of bodybuilding, probably among the top 20 to 25 ever, especially in the amateur ranks. Great, probably one of the best teenage bodybuilders ever. And why do I know that? Because I remember seeing him in the magazine and knowing that all hope was lost. But John is not only a very, very good historic bodybuilder, but he's built probably one of the best and most successful personal training businesses in the world, Ultra Fit, based now in South Carolina. He originally started in Florida many years ago. One of the pioneers, and you know, face it, this industry is a difficult one to find success in, both as a trainer and trainee. But John has pretty much solved that riddle. And John's also done a lot of other things. He's trained some of the top luminaries and famous people in the world. Newt Gingrich, he helped him lose 61 pounds, and some others that I'll let you tell him about. But also, he was also rated by Flex magazine as the 4th most intense. And what is intensity? Doing as much work as you can in a short period of time, but it really goes beyond that. The 4th most intense trainer in history, behind not only Tom Platz, but a couple other guys. In fact, John might even move up that ladder a little bit, in my opinion. Probably why I'm avoiding the Shark Tank down in South Carolina these days. I'm supposed to go down there and work out with him. But I think I'm going to send a friend Lance Stranahan instead. That's another story. But we're going to talk about how John started in training and bodybuilding. And really, this is all about longevity, because John pretty much, although he's older, he's a little more far afield from when he won the Mr. USA in 1983. He's still in top shape at the age of 61. And he proves that as long as you don't stop what you've always done, you could always do what you've always done, maybe at a little bit of a lower level. That's longevity, and that's what we're all about here. So, John, thank you, my friend, for being here. Start us off with how you started training up here in the East Coast.
Well, my brother was an All-American wrestler, 2-time All-American, great champion. He excelled in many sports. He was a 12-time letterman. He had 12 varsity letters when he graduated high school, 4 for wrestling, 4 for baseball, and 4 for football. And he was quite an act to follow. I watched him every day. You know, he'd go run 12 miles, come home, train with weights for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then he'd go wrestle for 3 hours. I mean, it was mind-boggling to watch this guy train. And so I grew up with that environment and with my dad being a weightlifter. And when I was 10 years old, my mom had a heart attack, and she went in the hospital. She was very overweight, went in the hospital, and I couldn't visit her because you had to be 14 to get into the hospital. And once they held me up to the window, and it was very traumatic because here was this woman who took care of us. My dad, you know, back in '68, you know, your mother took care of the kids and the father worked and paid the bills. You know, it was quite a different dynamic. And so when my mom went in the hospital, my dad was stuck in this dilemma. You know, we got these 3 kids here. I was the youngest. You know, do I take him for a walk? Do I give him water every day? What do I do? You know, it's like he kind of, you know, is perplexed. And but my dad worked out, and he was an avid weightlifter. He followed, you know, John Grimmick and Steve Reeves, and you know, he had these York barbells. So he put a barbell in my hand when I was 10, and he taught me how to do curls and push-ups and sit-ups and a lot of body weight stuff, pull-ups. And
so was your brother as a wrestler also training with weights or no?
Yes. Yes, he was. And yeah, so at 10 years old, here I am training with weights and doing all these workouts. And by the time I was 13, my dad was a mailman. So he brought home these magazines that were thrown in a bin that he found that had bodybuilders on them. And one of them was Dave Draper. And, you know, back then Dave Draper had the headband on, and he was a cool guy, man, from the 60s and 70s, you know, the surfer dude with the long hair. And, you know, and so, you know, I see this guy, I'm like, my gosh, I want to be like this guy's muscles and vascularity. And of course I didn't know what vascularity was. I seen veins. I was like, that guy's got a lot of veins, but he was Mr. America, Mr. Universe. And So I said, I want to be like that. So at 13 years old, I wrote down in a 19 cents, and I remember 19 cents, of course, the black and white composition book. I wrote down, I will be Mr. America at 13. That was my goal. And so I started training more intensely at 13 and was, totally into it. I'd get up early in the morning, I'd work out before school. I'd come home from school. I couldn't wait to get off the bus so I could go work out again. And I built this little, by the time I was 15, I built this little home gym. And at 16 years old, I met Bob Gruskin. And Bob Gruskin had some equipment sent to my house. And I put that in the basement. So I had a home gym at home,
Just like that, John. He sent you equipment.
Yeah, Bob was a great guy. He did everything he could for everybody. So he truck pulls up one day and they said, we have some equipment. I said, yeah, my mom said, what's this about? I said, yeah, it must be a mistake. I don't know. So he said, it's from Bob Gruskin. So I called Bob and I said, this is when I was 16. And I said, was this, they said, you sent some equipment. He said, yeah, I want to help you out, get some equipment at home. You can work out, So I had this home gym when I was 16 years old. And, with a pull down machine and a leg extension, leg curl, and, dumbbells. Benches and their whole setup. And so at 16, I'm training and I'm competing. I competed against Dwayne Broadway. You heard that story in the Suburban. Yep. In the teenage Suburban in New Jersey. There were 4 competitors. I went there with my friends, and they, after prejudging, they all told me I won the show. So I was pretty excited about that. Came back for the night show, and it's funny because Tom Terwilliger, great champions came out of that show. You got Tom Terwilliger, Casey Kacharik, Dwayne Broadway. So at the prejudge, I see this guy Dwayne Broadway. I see his back is all chunky muscle, and I'm like, wow, that guy's good, But my friends told me I won. So why would your friends lie, right? So I go back at night, and it's time to go out on stage, and they say, well, the top 3 competitors go out on stage, and they named the 3 competitors, and I wasn't one of them. There was 4 of us. So I went up to the guy backstage with the clipboard, and I said,
it was true back then. 50 competitors, 3 trophies. That was it. You remember that, right?
Yeah, in this case, it was worse. If there was 50 competitors, it wouldn't have been so bad. Competitors, and you didn't make the top 3. That's, it doesn't get worse than that, So I told the guy, yeah, no, you made a mistake. I won the show. Okay, hold on, my friend. Hey, John, come over, tell him. Richard, tell him, I won the show. I was like, I want to get my friends together because, they saw it that way. And evidently the judges didn't. So it was I call it a Carrie moment, like Carrie in the movie where they dump the blood on her and she wants to wipe out the whole place.
John, at that blood dropping moment, can you revisit exactly how you felt? Because sometimes those types of events in life, you can actually gutturally remember how it felt. Did you feel like quitting, like screw this, or did it kind of strengthen your resolve?
Michael, I call it defining moments in life. Okay, these are the defining moments in life. And for those of you who've listened in, watching this video, you have to understand that defining moments are the most important, the most critical moments of your life. And the defining moments are what, as you go forward, create the life that you want to live. And the way you react to those defining moments is very important. And I can tell you how the auditorium smelt, what the atmosphere was like. I could tell you about the broken down wooden stage that they just took some plywood and nailed it together. I tell you about the dangling light bulb. Oh, yeah. It was not a posing, beautiful posing light that you see now. I could tell you a lot of things about that event because, again, it was a defining moment. The moment that you recognize you suck. You suck. Whatever you did was not good. The hard work you put in was worthy of nothing. And you learned what back then was called the agony of defeat. It was the skier coming down the hill that did that triple flip as he got destroyed by the hill. The hill beat him.
You know, John, supposedly after that fall, that guy got up and walked away and went and had lunch like it was nothing. But
well, I think, you know, he probably went and had lunch, but at the same time, he was probably thinking, my gosh, I got a lot of work to do, you know?
Yeah, right.
And,
right.
you know, that defining moment brings back the memory of Tom Terwilliger beating me, Casey Kacharik beating me, Mark Shivo beating me, Dwayne Broadway annihilating all of us, you know? This great champion, young kid, incredible Dwayne Broadway. I mean, you'll see him. He's still in great shape at his age now.
Hey, John, when you looked at his back with the chunks of muscle, did you say, "Oh, that must be the men's open division"?
I said, you know what? He's got a back. You know, I mean, but I got it all. I had great symmetry. Everything sucked. I'm telling you. You know, I mean,
what it's all about. Nothing.
Like, and Terwilliger beat me in the Suburban.
Hold on, hey, Kenny Wallach should agree with that about the symmetry part. I know he has people pose so they show no weaknesses. Everything is either, you know, outstanding or maybe not so outstanding. So I'm sorry, I digress.
No, that's okay. Alan Kinsey said, "Wow, very profound and enlightened statement," and it's true. You know, I want you guys to realize that those moments are the most critical moments of our life, and in society is taking those moments away from us.
Yeah, what would you say to a young person? Now, and listen, there's a lot of good people out there, but you know, we're kind of rough on the youth, maybe. And what do you think the average response to something like that is now? Unfortunately,
well, here's the thing. Society has taken away defining moments. Society has made it okay to lose. You know, everybody's a winner now, you know, and everybody's not a winner. Don't buy into the bullshit. Everybody is not a winner. Read my lips. Everybody is not a winner. The winners are the winners, the ones that stand up there and they've worked hard and they did their homework and they due diligence. You know, they were responsible to get up every day and work hard and learn what they needed to do with their nutrition, learn what they needed to do with their training. So many people now, a lot of these guys, they just, you know, they want to know, they don't want to know how to train, you know, how to set up your workouts, how to break down the body parts. You know, they don't train twice a day like we did. They don't, you know, there's so much behind becoming a champion. And a lot of the guys today, they want to know, what do I take? You know, what do I take? You know, I mean, it's not about what you take. It's about the knowledge you have, the work you're willing to put in, and the time that you're willing to endure and go through it over and over and over again. You know, when I'm working with somebody, I say, here's where we want to be right now. Okay. And then 2 weeks later, so well, what do I do now?
John, you and I did our first thing. We've done a few interviews. You're always very gracious with your time, and you know, you always illuminate for the people with the truth, born from experience and not just something you read. I mean, you've done all these things, but I remember you told me now a young person or whoever will walk up to you. Like if I was a kid and it was back in the day, I'd say, hey, what do I do to train? What do I eat? Now they ask, what drug? Maybe the next thing is what supplement, and then maybe food. They never ask about training. Would you say that's a hierarchy?
Yeah, you know, learning how to train. 99% of the people that think they know how to train have no idea, and you know, or they'll say, "I don't need a trainer." I love this one. I don't need a trainer. Hey, you know what? Come over to my house. Let me take you through a workout, and when the workout's over, tell me, would you have been able to do that on your own? Would you have the knowledge to have been able to do that? Did you learn anything? And at the end of the workout, do you feel that you could have done that workout by yourself? And I can tell you straight across the board, the answer is no.
Do you notice even you can probably get some people who are hardcore, the antithesis of you, and when they're done with that, and because it's real, and you know, you're being real about it. In fact, you're not trying to do them in. You don't try to do anything.
No, I want to kill somebody. I mean, if there's
right.
there's no art, Michael, there's no art to destroying a person in the gym. If I take you into my gym and I said, okay, Michael, we're getting you on the hack squat machine. You're going to do 500 reps. Somewhere between 0 and 500, you're either going to quit, you're going to throw up, you're going to pass out, one of those, okay? But you're going to fail, and I'm going to beat you into the ground. There's no art to that. You know, I've had guys come to me, I interview them for training and say, tell me what you've done as far as a trainer. Well, I took this guy.
John, you interview people before you let them train with you?
Oh, well, I interview people before I let them train with me. I also interview trainers very in depth before we hire them. But, whether they're a trainer or whether they're going to train with me, I ask them, well, especially if they're a trainer, mainly this is specifically for trainers. When I interview a trainer that's looking to come on board with UltraFit, I I ask them about their past, what they've done in the past. I took this guy to a workout. I made him throw up. I have no respect for that. The art of training is not making somebody throw up. I can tell you this. I've had people, I'm going to take you through a Shark Tank workout. And they say, oh, man, I know I'm going to throw up. I said, no, you won't. What do you mean? I'm not going to throw up? Easy way out. My goal is for you not to throw up. My goal is to get you through every element of that workout. And there's a lot of elements. There's a lot of levels of intensity. And my goal is to take you through these levels of intensity to make you a champion or take you to your goal, okay? The goal is not to break a person down. The goal is to challenge a person to the next level so that when the workout's over and they walk out the door, they're beat, but they're saying, damn, I conquered some tough shit, I did it, man. I did it, and by conquering it, they have a good feeling of well-being, a feeling that they've achieved something and they've learned something from it, and now they're at the next level. Now, the next workout is going to be tougher. See, the key to training a person and getting results is to increase the intensity of every workout. How do we increase the intensity of a workout? That's simple. We're going to either increase the weight, we're going to decrease the rest time between sets, or we're going to increase the volume or the number of sets. But either way, we're going to increase that intensity each and every workout. And by increasing that intensity, two things are going to happen. We're challenging muscle, and we're going to grow muscle. By growing muscle, we're going to increase the metabolic rate to burn more fat. And at the same time, we're going to challenge that person to be able to realize they can do more and they're capable of more than what they think they're capable of.
John, speaking of challenges, because I want to go through this little hierarchy here, because we can talk for 5 hours, you and I. And of course, you'll be back for more. And we have plenty of time right now, but I want to talk about, obviously, your trainer, Steve Mahalik. Go there, and then we'll go to some of the famous people that you've helped improve. And then we'll talk about, your food plan and longevity and keeping people well and able well into their later years. Because that's really what we're all about. But you went over to Mr. America, Jim, because you want to be Mr. America. So what happened when you did that? And then I'm gonna ask you for one really good Steve Mahalik murderous training session that maybe it occurred at the beach, maybe not, but you can go into that.
Well, okay, so I lost 9 shows in a row. Okay.
Nice. When you say lost, you didn't get a trophy, nothing? You're just getting smoked the whole time, or you just didn't win?
No, I took second to, I didn't place in the Suburban, obviously, 4 people, 3 placings, nothing, 0. The Teenage Metropolitan New York, which is a major show in New York. And you got to realize bodybuilding back then. California was the #1 state, okay? New York was the #2 state. If you won the Metropolitan New York, you were a favorite to win the Mr. America, okay? So that was my goal. I wanted to win the Metropolitan New York. So I went in the Metropolitan.
John, was that held in right in the heart of New York City, or was it Brooklyn?
No, that was in Deer Park, Long Island.
Okay.
It was in Deer Park, Long Island. So I go in the show. Tommy Tuilaga was in the show. Tommy placed 5th in the men's. I'm sorry. Tommy placed 4th in the men's. I placed 5th. Tommy won the teenage. I took 2nd. The following day, I had a celebration at my house for Tommy. Okay, I still have the picture. I'll post the picture later.
I've seen it. You guys are sitting there eating, right?
Yeah, we're sitting there eating a Subway sandwich, deli sandwich, because we own several delis. We're eating a deli sandwich, and we had some ice cream, and I was celebrating Tommy. I think I was celebrating the fact that the show was over and I got to eat something. It was, but Tommy won the show clearly and deservedly won the show. A great champion. And even back then, and I took 2nd to Tommy in the teenage and took 5th in the open. And the following year, I came back and I I won the teenage and the open. I'm the only teenager to ever win.
You were 19. You were 19. That's the picture I saw of you in Muscle Builder in the back.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that guy's 19. Because I think I might have been 14. We're 5 years apart in age.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when I got 19, Gaspari was the guy. So I went into Teenage America, came in 10th. And, of course, I don't even think Gaspari just went straight to the Junior USA and won that when he was 19 or 20 or something. But he was a guy like you. He was one of those people, like we were talking about Evan Centopani earlier, who was a friend, and he's gigantic. And he said, Mike, and I think you'll agree, says, you really can't train for this. I was this size when I was 20. And he's not boasting. And we don't like the word genetics, but in this case, another person could do everything he did and be my size. He said, you're going to find out early on where you're going to be at if you're putting the effort in. And I think that was probably true with you, right?
Well, you know what? I mean, I had great potential, but again, potential comes from the mind more than the body. And I wouldn't find out how much potential I had until I actually met the madman, Mahalik, you know, and getting back to that is real simple. After placing fifth in the men's metropolitan and second in the teenage, I knew if I wanted to become Mr. America, I have to train with Mr. America. You know, if you want to achieve anything in life, find the person who's achieved it.
Yeah.
Seek them out and listen to them. You know, people don't listen today. Everybody wants to do it their own way. You know, I come across that a lot. People want to do it their own way. Listen, I have no time for that. If you're willing to listen to me and you have to understand that 52 years of experience and knowledge behind me, I know what the hell I'm doing. I've mastered this sport when it comes to knowledge, but you have to listen. And a lot of people today, they have a very short listening. They have a very short attention span because everybody wants it now. You have Instagram, you have microwaves, you have, you know, everything's instant, you know, where we understood we had to work for it. It was going to take time. So I went to Mr.
Before you go on, I want to just touch on what you just said and ask you a question. You probably don't get a lot of this, but you have a good screening system. And of course, because your marketing is good, in other words, you're emblematic of yourself, you only draw people who are like-minded, but you probably get some people, you give them a program, they come back and they're maybe not getting the results and they tell you, I'm doing everything you're telling me, but they're really not, are they? You can tell when they're not adhering, right?
You know, what I do is I break them down. It's almost like in a police interview where they have the light on you and they keep working on it. And we keep working, and it's a patience game. So I don't call a person out and say, you're lying. You're not following what I'm telling you. What I do is I say, yes, something's wrong here. Let's look at what you're eating. Let's look at what you're doing. You know, and I keep going and keep going. Then, you know, because they'll say, no, I'm doing the diet 100%. I haven't missed a beat. This, that. I say, listen, we've combed through this. I have to find out where the problem is. You have to be honest with me. And I keep working. You know, because, you know, and I break it down. Where are you buying your chicken? Where are you getting this? What are you putting on it? You know, and eventually it's like, well, you know, I did have a couple glasses of wine this week, and I was my daughter's birthday, and we had some birthday cake. And eventually, I break it out right away. I don't say, listen, you're a liar, and I know you're lying, because I don't want to do that. Instead, I break it down and explain to them, listen, man, I've been doing this for a lifetime. You know what? I'm the best at what I do because I've worked hard, really hard at it, pretty much 15 hours a day for a lifetime. And I'm passionate about it. I love helping people. I love giving people the knowledge that they need to become the best they can be. But I don't tolerate people who don't listen, you know, and I walk away from those people. If they don't listen and they don't respect the knowledge, I don't have time for them, you know. So, you know, getting back to Mahalik, I realized I was losing. And I tell you something, losing show after show, the feeling of defeat is painful, especially when you come from a family of champions. My dad being the bodybuilder that he was, my brother being the All-American wrestler. You know, for the Teenage America in 1977, we drove up to Boston.
John, I'm sorry, hold that thought, but we should read a couple of these.
Sure.
Lance Stranahan, John would have been a good detective in the interrogation room, breaking them down. So about that donut, he asks. And then we've got Alan Kingery working for Ray Menser for 2 years and training at Nautilus in Spartanburg with John Langford. I learned never make it rocket science and know that your gains are through healing. Would you say that people complicate things, John? Or in terms of looking for...
You know what my philosophy is? Einstein said it best. Brilliance is taking the complex and simplifying it. And so when people are sitting there talking about macros, oh, you got to count your macros, you got to do this. Listen, I have it all built in. What I do, I tell you what to eat, you eat it, you get the results. Simple as that. Here's your choices, here's your quantities, here's your meal times. That's what we do with UltraFit, clear across the board. And then if there's any specific changes that are to be made, I'm here always for them to consult with. So those changes are made, but it's not about counting carbs and protein and sodium and this. It's about, I know what to do. Here's what you need to do. Cut out all the bullshit. One of the reasons our clients make the greatest progress is because they don't have to sit around all day and calculate shit, See, and that's the problem with society. Everybody wants to take the simple and make it complex. I want to take the complex and make it simple, okay?
John, I think you're a nice guy and, articulate.
Because you haven't trained in Shark Tank.
Yeah, that's coming. I told you I'm sending my surrogate Stranahan there. Let me ask you, I know you're bodybuilding and you train bodybuilders, but you're more or less the average people who want to get in good shape. When you got a person who it's life and death, whether they know it or not, and they're diabetic or they're obese or their blood pressure's through the roof, the big three, and they're kind of equivocating with you. They're kind of trying to bargain with you. They're trying to find, but I'm searching for taste and this and that. Do you kind of crack the whip a little because there is no negotiation on, saving yourself? Do you have to get like that somewhat? Because, there is, in some cases, there isn't a lot of choice.
It's different with, the trainers have clients and they handle the clients a certain way and they try to work with their personality. I'm not a patient guy when it comes to giving direction and expecting people to follow direction. So anybody that I personally work with, I make it very clear up front that I expect them to listen to me and to listen to me only. I don't like this, I had a coach for nutrition, a coach for training, a coach for this, a guru for this. I don't like any of that crap. Listen, I've lived my life, ate, slept, and breathed this. And when you work with him, a lot of people say, well, you're a bodybuilder. Yeah, you got in shape so you could train other people. That's a bunch of crap. There's a lot of bodybuilders out there that they got in shape, but they have no idea how to get other people in shape. But when you look at it, look at the history, okay? This year I've been training for 52 years. I started training people 45 years ago. 38 years ago, I started UltraFit. I've had over 500 trainers work for me, and we've had tens of thousands of clients. And I've had interaction with many of those clients, thousands of clients. So you learn how the human body works, how people work, how their mind works, how to tap into their potential, how to get them inspired, and how to get them to follow direction. And, quite simply, what I have is a gift that I've been blessed with from God. And if you don't value that gift and you're not going to listen to me and you're not going to follow through, then I'm not your guy because I'm not going to work with you.
You're going to continue on this vein, but I want to come back to this question from Joe Toth when we get into this towards the end. John, why did you not accept your pro card? And I know we've discussed that, but we can talk about that at the end in a little bit.
Sure.
But, continue on with that. I'm sorry, with the training.
No. So it's really about getting a person engaged, getting them to commit 100%, and I make it very clear to people, I only work with people who are willing to commit 100%. And if they have I heard from this guy, or I got on YouTube and I Googled this, or I did, look, man, I got time for that. You know what? You don't want to listen to me? Not a problem, but if you listen to me and you ask someone like Keith Greiser or Tom Wagner or the multitude, I've trained over 600 champions in bodybuilding. All of these people will tell you one thing. I was very direct. They were very committed. And if you talk to Keith Greiser today, he still listens to every word I said, even for his last show, the Masters Nationals, which he won.
Yeah, he was great.
Keith said to me, he posted a picture one day, and I was guiding him for the show, and he posted a picture, and he looked good in the picture, and everyone commented on it. Oh, amazing! You look great. You're ready. You're this. You're that. I picked up the phone right away. I said, look, man, you're off. Here's what you got to do. Put in 2 meals of red meat today and tomorrow. Take in your carbs, fill up, let your body, and then 2 days from now, take a look at yourself, take a picture, and you're going to look completely different. And he felt that he looked really good then, and everyone told him, you can't listen to your friends because they're going to tell you what you want to hear. Everyone told him he looked great. 2 days later, he called me up in the morning. He said, my God, how do you do that? But it's not something I can teach somebody. It's instinct from repetition and dealing with people and knowing their bodies. And I know Keith's body. I've worked with him for 30 years, the longer you work with somebody, the more proficient you'll get in helping them achieve their goals,
I think also for you to be able to do that, because there's variances between people, you can't stick to a cookie cutter, and you certainly can't stick to dogma, the people who say this is how we've always done it type of stuff, because those are the ones that don't, they don't want to learn from anybody else. And that's the most to you. I mean, those would be time vampires, I imagine.
Well, Michael, I've trained over 600 champions. Not one of them did cardio. You know what? And if you can do cardio, if I take you through a workout or you do my workout and you can do cardio afterwards, you didn't do my workout.
John, is climbing a hill after squatting with a chain cardio? No, you can go into that training.
No. I mean, going back to Arizona, 1980, squatting. I do 60 sets for legs and then squat 225 for 100 reps. And the second I put that bar down, wrapped the chain around my neck with a 50-pound plate, climbed a mountain in Tempe, Arizona. Take about 20 minutes to get up the mountain, and that 20-minute climb, it was pretty horrendous. And by the time I got up there, I just sit on the top of the mountain for 30 minutes, 45 minutes before I could even attempt to come down that mountain without tumbling down that mountain, But it was all about how do I intensify the workout to take me to the next level. And I would lay awake at night and I would dream about it and I would think about it. And even to this day, some of my best ideas come when I'm in bed sleeping and I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I say, oh, wow, and I think about things, but I would do that. How do I make the workout more challenging? So I came up with all these different principles and ideas that we use every day. I see Dave Spector's watching. Dave, great to see you. Dave's a great champion who brought me to my first gym, Olympic Health Club, and took me through probably my hardest first workout of my life at that time before I met Michalik, of course, because Michalik was a madman. But Dave Spector took me through an arm workout that I'll never forget. And I actually remember some of the exercises and the pain I went through. Dave Spector, a great champion. I want to give him a shout out.
Oh, Dave. Yeah, Dave's a great guy. I'm going to have him on here because he's going for the world championships in rowing now.
Yes.
And I know he's older. I think he's in his mid-60s now, but he still looks really good. Great bodybuilder. Give us one. I would like to hear the story, unless you have something different about the beach and Michalik and the true definition of do you really want something? Can you?
Yeah. Let me before I get into that, let me talk about the first time I met Steve Michalik, because I wanted to be Mr. America. I knew if I wanted to be Mr. America, I wanted to seek Mr. America. Luckily, this guy was 30 minutes away from where I lived at Mr. America's gym. He had his own gym. And I went there, and I was John Defendis, the guy who took second in the Teenage Metropolitan. Surely he would want to meet me, and help me.
You were really thinking that?
Well, I was thinking, hey, I competed, and I was a cocky teenager. You're kind of dumb when you're, and no offense to the teenagers, but teenagers get a little stupid. And I was cocky, and even though I had lost a lot of shows, I still thought, hey, I had the best build in my high school, so I must be all that, So I go to Mr. America's and I walk in and I said, yeah, I'm here to see Steve Michalik. And the guy says, oh, he's training right now.
You didn't know what that meant, huh?
Like, yeah, but surely he wants to meet me because I'm the up-and-coming guy. He could make a champion. And, of course, I'm thinking he'll make him famous, the guy that's Mr. America, who's ready. And granted, I deal with these guys today, guys that think that they're going to make me famous,
Right.
And so the guy turned around and he was busy. So I kind of walked into the gym and Steve was in there. I think he was training arms, and he put the bar down and I said, hey, Steve, I'm John Defendis. And he said, get the F out of here. What are you doing interrupting my workout? Who do you think you are? And then he goes into this tirade. And I pretty much ran out of the gym. The guy was 260, mammoth with a 27-inch waist. I'd never seen anybody like this before. And, you know, I remember the first time I seen him was at the Mets that I took second to Tommy in. And when Steve walked in the auditorium, I hit my friend and I said, "What the hell is that?" I mean, his back was this big. His waist was tiny.
Was that around the time you won the AAU America, John? Was that right around?
He won AAU America 72.
Oh, okay, a little earlier then. Okay.
Yep. So he Dave Spector says, "I remember John."
Yeah, I just noticed that.
Great friends to this day. We talk a lot and share horror stories about, you know, the pains and aches of getting old, you know. But so Mihalek screams at me, yells at me, chases me out of the gym. I get out of there. I go home. And that night I'm thinking, you know, that guy's incredible. I got to figure a way where I can learn from him. You know, I respected the knowledge. I respected this great champion. So I went back to the gym and I was peeking in the window. It was at nighttime. I'm peeking in the window. I'm seeing, you know, is he in there? Maybe there's a way I can talk to him. And all of a sudden, boom, his hand grabs me in the back. And I turn around and he says, "What do you want, kid?" And it was Steve. And I was practically shaking, you know. Well, I want to be a champion. I remember the exact words. I want to be a champion. I want to be Mr. America. I want to be like you.
John, I just got to say, my original training partner, Lee Myrano, my best friend, my original training partner from 78, and he remembers you too. He just checked in and he says the winners are the winners, and that'll be you.
Hey, Lee, good to meet you, Lee. Good to see you here. Thanks for checking in. So I told him, "Hal, I want to be great. I want to be a champion. I want to be Mr. America like you." He said, "Be here tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Be here tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And I remember, you know, I miscalculated the ride to the gym that day.
Oh.
I got there at 5 after 7, and I come in the gym. And the gym, he didn't open the gym, I think, till 8 or 9. So, you know, the gym was, you know, it was just me and him in the morning. So I come walking in at 5 after 7, and I'm like, well, ready to train. You know, he says, and he points to the door. He goes, "Get the hell out of my gym." And I'm like, well, I'm here to train. "Get the hell out of my gym. I told you 7 o'clock. You're late. Get out." Right? And then after that, every single time, if I was a minute late or 5 minutes late, he would say, "You got to catch up." And this guy's cycling 3 exercises. He's 10 minutes into the workout, and I got to catch up. You know, I mean, you can't catch up, okay? Because this guy's on speed. He's crazy. He's insane. He's training like a madman. I mean, I used to come to the gym. He'd hand me a Black Beauty. I was a teenager. He'd hand me a Black Beauty, and I take the Black Beauty. I was really against drugs. I didn't know nothing about drugs. So I go over to the water fountain, and I throw the Black Beauty behind the water fountain. And as I got a drink, I'd be thinking, "Oh, boy, this is going to be tough," because I got a guy behind me that's like a freight train.
But John, your dear mother sent you there. She loved Steve.
No, my mom hated Steve. Steve put me in the hospital twice, and she hated him. But so what happened was Steve, well, 2 things. When I was getting ready for the first USA, we did legs. I'll never forget it. We did legs, and what he would do is he would have me. We do the 60-set leg workout. The last set, he'd have me do hack squats for 100 reps. And he would have a kid in the gym make sure I did 100 reps, perfect form, 100 reps. And while I was finishing that set, Steve would be in the car in his Corvette waiting for me in the parking lot. And then I'd have to finish the 100 reps. As soon as I finished the 100 reps, I'd have to run to the car. He'd run me down to the field. This is prior to the first USA I competed. And he would have me do 10 100-yard sprints forward and backward right after I did legs.
Oh, my God.
Okay? So we do 60 sets of legs. I do 100 reps on a hack squat. My legs are completely blown out. I run outside, or I really hobble outside. I get in his car. He drives, boom, down to the high school, which is about a half a mile away. And then let's go, get out there. And I would have to sprint 100 yards as fast as I can, and then sprint backwards. Well, on my backwards sprint, usually I fell 2 or 3 times while I was running backwards. He'd get up, come on, let's go, you know. And I'd have to do 10 of those. This is just after legs. and to bring in the lines of my legs in the last few weeks. And so we finished doing that. I'll never forget that day. We did legs, and I did the sprints, and then we get in the car. And we're on the way to Jones Beach, Long Island. And on the way to the beach, I say to Steve, now we didn't have much conversation. A lot of people misconstrue our relationship. Oh, Mahalik, Defendis, this incredible relationship. It wasn't like that at all. It was.
You weren't like hanging out, good pals and all that.
No. It was, I was the punching bag, and Steve used me to, here was the goal, kill John Defendis. Okay? That was the goal. And when I say that, I don't even say joking around. The goal was to kill John Defendis. And in the interim of killing John Defendis, we're trying to kill John Defendis, I'm going to have the best workout that I could possibly have.
No, I'll interrupt you because I do remember years ago you were telling me that your mother really thought he was trying to kill you. Wasn't there like an interaction in a hospital?
To this day, Steve Mahalik, rest in peace. My mom hates Steve Mahalik because she looks at him as the guy that tried to kill her teenager.
You don't say, "Hey, Mom, but he got me over the hill, man. He got me there." That doesn't matter, right? No.
Oh, no. She don't listen to that. She's mom.
Right.
Mom, she's, the protector, and
yeah. My mother thinks I suck. What do you still lift weights for? I don't think she says anything about it. It doesn't matter.
No, my mom felt like he was really trying to kill me. But so we're on our way to Jones Beach, and the reason I know the mentality is because I became Steve Mahalik in the future years.
We are on Steve, so I'll interrupt. So Stranahan just asked, did Steve have a bit of a sadistic streak? Actually?
Absolutely. Steve, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Steve was a madman. He was brilliant. The man was brilliant. He designed equipment that nobody could ever even think about. He designed exercises that were incredible. He's intensity level. When they talk about the top 10 hardest training bodybuilders of all time, and they have Tom Platz first, Branch Warren, Dorian Yates, myself, and then fifth is Ronnie Coleman. I would say the top three are me, not in this order, but me, Tom Platz, and Steve Mahalik. Because Mahalik was a madman. He was brilliant, but he was sadistic. He was masochistic. He loved pain, and he could bring it on, And but he was an unusual human being, and very hard to really understand. I call him the Charles Manson of bodybuilding because he could get anybody to do anything that he wanted. He could get you to believe. He could get you to believe you could pick up this house and put it on your shoulders and walk down the street. And then he would get you to do it, challenge you to do it. And that's what was so great about Steve, because he made you believe you could do stuff. He never complimented me. It took 20 years, almost 20 years, for him to compliment me. Actually, after I won the USA, he said, "Good job." But up until then, I was nothing more than an effing skeleton with a wig, a coat hanger with no muscle. I mean,
what happened at the beach that day?
So we finished legs. We finished at the high school. We're on our way to the beach. I'm exhausted. I'm blown away. And Steve's driving. There's nothing being said. We didn't have a lot of conversation. And Steve says to me, I said to Steve, "Listen, I have to win the USA." It was about 6 weeks away. I said, "I have to win the USA. I have given up everything. I have trained my heart away, twice a day workouts. Boiled chicken and water was what I was eating. 5 pounds of boiled chicken and water a day, which was actually 8 pounds of chicken boiled down to 5 pounds, made into 5 1-pound packages in tinfoil that I ate dry like it was shoe leather. And I'll never forget that time. And I said to him, "I have to win this show. What's it going to take for me to win this show?" And Steve looked at me, and he looked out the window, and he didn't say a word. And we get to the beach, and we put our blankets down, and we would always go to a beach that was secluded because we're wearing trunks, and we kind of felt like, we didn't want to be around people because we had posing trunks on, and we wanted to, be, just isolated. So we went to a beach in Jones Beach that was isolated. And I got up and I went down to the water. I'll never forget. I went about waist deep, and I was standing in the water. And I remember looking up, now it's about, we trained at 7, it's about 9 o'clock, 9:30. And I'm looking up at the sun as it's, coming up on over on the horizon. And I'm thinking, my gosh, I'm so glad that workout's over, boy. I remember everything about the moment. And then I'm standing there in the water, and all of a sudden, boom, I get this hand on the back of my head and shoves it down. And I had long hair back then. It wasn't like it is now, but I had long hair. And so Steve shoves me underwater. He's holding me underwater, and he's
strong enough to do it, because you're no pushover.
He's 260. I was probably 204, I think. I think I was 204 at that time. And he's holding me underwater, and I realized this is serious. This man, I thought this man is trying to kill me. He's absolutely lost his mind, and he's trying to kill me. So I'm fighting to try to get out of the, get up and get a breath of air. And I start punching his calf, and I'm hitting him, and he's holding me down, and he pulls me up for a second, and he shoves me back down under the water. And I'm down there, I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get up and get a breath of air. And finally he takes me, throws me out into the waves, and he walks up the beach, and he lays down on the beach like this. And he sits there. And I come up out of the water, and I'm screaming, what is wrong with you? I'm gasping for a breath of air, because I was holding my breath underwater. And I'm gasping for air. And I said, what the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing? What have you lost your mind? And this man sat there like this. And he looked at me and he said, son, let me ask you one question. When you were under that water, when I was holding you under that water, what were you thinking about? And I'm still on a tirade. You out of your mind? What's wrong with you? He said, I asked you a question. When I was holding you under that water, what were you thinking about? And I said, what do you think I was thinking about? I was thinking about trying to get up out of the water. I was trying to get a breath of air. And Steve Mihalik looked at me and he said, son, when you want to win, as bad as you wanted that breath of air, as bad as you wanted to get up out of that water, and as bad as you wanted that breath of air, that's when you'll be a champion. That's when you'll be a winner. And every single day, every single workout for years, as I trained for that USA to win, because I took third in that USA, and I would not compete again until I felt I was ready to win, which was 88. Every single day of my life, I thought about that event, that defining moment, that breath of air that I wanted so bad, and how bad I wanted to win the USA. And eventually I won it. That was my goal. And I achieved that because I wanted it as bad as I wanted to breathe. And the sad part about that whole story is years later, there's this motivational speaker on YouTube who does a video about that event, except he changes the event.
Oh,
he said,
you know his name, or you don't want to mention it?
I don't remember his name, but everyone a lot of people will know it.
Is it Les Brown?
Huh?
I think it might be Les Brown. Les Brown?
I'm not sure of what his name is, but he does a video, and he says, let me tell you a story about this guru. He was a sales and marketing, and talks about sales and marketing, and he tells a story about how this guy said, I want to be the best salesman in the world. I want to make a lot of money. And he says, come on down to the beach, and he dunks him underwater, and then he pulls him up and says, when you want to make a lot of money, you want to be the best salesman as bad as you want it to breathe. And the video got millions of views and tens of thousands of likes. And as I watched this video, it hurt my heart to know that somebody made it about money.
Yeah.
Money has never ruled my world. It's never been about money. It's been about becoming a champion, being the best you can be, elevating people and inspiring people to be great.
John, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you think back to that, do you still feel that way? When you think about the air leaving your lungs and you have that, that pressing need, can you still draw upon that to this day, or at least put it on somebody else?
In other ways, not so much in training in the gym. In other ways, life hits you hard. I mean, we've all been hit very hard. Even as we're going through this pandemic and this whatever you want to call it. It's a traumatic thing for all of us. It's like you have to realize that, you just got to keep going, and you got to want to survive, and you got to want to live, and you got to want to chase and attack your goals as bad as you wanted that breath of air that I was fighting for underwater. And it was, again, it's a defining moment, and those defining moments are so critical in our lives. And a lot of people don't understand that. When they talk about, everybody's a winner. I remember Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, he does a skit where he says, my friend invited me to his son's baseball game. I got there 10 minutes late. Hey, I'm sorry. Who's winning the game? Oh, Sebastian, everybody's a winner. He says, we don't keep score here. Everybody's a winner. And he says, are you seeing that kid out in right field? It's like, it's like, and it's funny, but it's at the same time, it's serious, because society is taking us to this place where accolades and goals and achievements and hard work is no longer a priority. If everybody's a winner, then what do we have to work for?
It takes away the striving and the creative component and all that. The one thing you take away, there's surely a lot of things, but the one overriding thing that you take away from being a student of Steve Mihalich, if you had to put it in one statement, powerful, impactful statement.
The guy made me, he made me a man. He made me a person that was unbreakable, because, I grew up in a very strong household, my dad and my brother, of course, being the great champion that he is. So that was the next level. And Mihalich tried to break me. And he did at times. He broke me. He put me in the hospital. The first time he put me in the hospital, he taught me a lesson. I went off my diet, and I told him. He was not happy about it. And I'll never forget, we did 90 sets for biceps. We did 90 sets for triceps. And then after the 90 sets of triceps, I barely could move, and I turned around, and he was on the leg extension machine. And I knew we got a problem. It's like kind of like, ground control to Major Tom. We got a serious problem here. This guy's on the leg extension machine, which means if Steve did 90 sets for biceps and 90 sets for triceps, he's not going to do 40 sets for legs. Okay. No. He had a pattern, and whatever that set realm was, whatever he did for biceps, he was going to do for the next body part. So, I'll never forget, because I used to write down in my diary, 7 o'clock, chest, 50 sets, shoulders, 50 sets. And then 9:30, breakfast. And then we come back and we do triceps in the evening. Well, on that day, I wrote down 7 o'clock, biceps 90 sets, triceps 90 sets, legs 90 sets, breakfast 2:30, right? So we started training at 7 o'clock in the morning. I got home and ate at 2:30. We trained for about 7 hours, 7 hours, whatever it was. And I got home, and my face was falling in my plate, and my mother said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." She said, "No, you're not." She took me to the hospital. My potassium levels were drained. Everything was drained. They put me in the hospital. And then my friend came up to visit me the next day, and I said, "Does Steve know I'm in the hospital?" And my friend said, "Yes, he does." I said, "Well, what did he say?" And my friend John Farina said, "Well, not really. He didn't really say much." I said, No. Come on, tell me, what did he say? He said, he didn't really say much. I could tell John was full of crap. I said, "John, be honest with me. What did Steve say?" And he said, "Steve said, you're mentally and physically weak, and you'll never be a champion." And that, for me, that's what it's about. It's about, I always worked well off a negative feedback. When people,
is that where the word relentless comes from?
Yeah, I think, when I trademarked Relentless Pursuit with the Shark years ago, and I trademarked it because, that's where we really have to dig deep. I never worked well when things were good. When things were bad, when people threw shit at me, when I was told I couldn't do it, when I was told you're not a winner or you're weak or you're, whatever it was negative, I always took that and I absorbed it and I digested it and I converted it into this incredible positive energy. And that's what people need to do. Too many people, today, somebody says, hey, can you take a look at me? Tell me what you think. And I said, well, we got to get your lats a little bit bigger, get your lower back a little tighter, Oh, so what are you saying? I suck? Well, actually, that's not what I said. But, now that you said it, yeah, you suck. Because people are, instead of taking that negativity or that criticism and utilizing it and absorbing it, digesting it, and going after it and being relentless, they're
offended.
Break down, they get offended. And, you'll never become great if things like that bother you rather than inspire you,
John, do some name dropping for me. The big time people that, and all people are the same, but, you've trained some, very, some luminaries, Newt Gingrich.
I trained Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. I took 61 pounds off of in 11 weeks.
And you went and lived in D.C., right?
Yeah, I actually was brought to D.C. I was put up on Capitol Hill. I had an apartment on Capitol Hill, and I trained them every morning in the Congressional Gym in the Raymond Building up there. And it was a great experience. I took 61 pounds off them in 11 weeks, and we've been friends ever since. That was 23 years ago.
Smart man, right?
Huh?
Smart man. Smart.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, man. Anybody says anything different, they don't know what they're talking about. The guy is a brilliant man. He could read a book faster than you could turn the pages. And I said to him, how do you do that? Because, I gave him a book and he turned the page, then he told me what it said. And I said, how do you do that? He said, the same way you do what you do. He goes, I started reading when I was 3 years old. He said, and I learned how to read and how to speed read and, but what it is being committed to a goal. And that's what he was. And he's just a really man. And then the other one is Calvin Klein. I trained Calvin Klein, the designer. And, the two greatest compliments I've ever received in my life was Newt Gingrich, who said, thank you for teaching me a lot about life and about fitness. And a lot of people said, what could you teach Newt Gingrich about life? And what it was I taught him was that you can take everything that you have over here, the passion and the drive and the commitment you have in the history of the world and the history of politics and politics itself, and you channel that same passion into that workout and fitness and that nutrition, and you're going to get that same positive result. You're going to achieve greatness, And so, yeah, Newt Gingrich said that, thank you for teaching me about life and fitness, and he put it on a plaque for me. I have a plaque from him with the speaker emblem on it. And then Calvin Klein said to me when I was training Calvin Klein, you're a really incredible businessman. And I had to laugh at that because I said, I'm not a businessman. I'm just passionate about helping people. And because I'm passionate about helping people, it allows me to, do well in business,
You've restored the youth to leagues of people. What's the basic premise behind particularly the eating component of UltraFit? So many people I see, you've got more before and after exhibits that I've seen from anybody ever. And when somebody loses 50 pounds, they're going to look younger. But there's a lot more to it than that, isn't there?
Yeah, we've taken over 100 pounds each off of more than 1,000 people.
Wow.
We've helped thousands of people, tens of thousands of people get in shape over the last 38 years with my program and with UltraFit. And, there's several components to it. The nutrition is important, and carbs are not the enemy. We don't do keto and cut the carbs. It's not healthy, and it's not a good thing to do. And a lot of people, they just do it. They lose some weight, and they think it's working. But,
you give people something they can do forever, because I see, I don't say anything's good or bad, but got to ask yourself, if you're going to do intermittent fasting or keto, are you going to do that until your last day? Because if you're not, there's not a lot of integrity necessarily, is there?
Well, no, and not only that, but intermittent fasting doesn't even make sense on a practical level, because if we have to feed our body, if we're trying to build muscle, we're eating every 3 hours, every 3 to 4 hours. Okay. So if the premise of building muscle is to train that muscle, challenge that muscle, stimulate that muscle, and then feed that muscle and rest so that muscle grows, and in order to do that, we need to eat quality proteins and some good quality carbohydrates every 3 to 4 hours. Why would we go a long period of time without eating and then train on that? What happens is, yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of fat, but you're also going to lose muscle. And it never made sense to me. It's on a practical level, it doesn't even make sense. Keto, we do low carbs. We manipulate carbs once a person is in shape and we're getting them ready for a show to get their body fat way down, but fully knowing that when that show is over, there's going to be a rebound and they're going to gain a bunch of weight because they starved their body from carbohydrates. You should never starve your body from carbohydrates or protein. You want to feed your body. You want to nourish your body. Though that's why they're called nutrients.
Right. And I notice you're often eating in restaurants, the ultra fit style. I mean, you've got some restaurants down there in concert who follow your actual program. So obviously you can eat in restaurants and still get in shape and stay in shape.
Yeah, I've worked directly with the restaurant owners. At some of the restaurants, I spent 3 months in there working with the chefs so that we got the meals perfect. So that's low sodium, low fat, low sugar, and they're eating exactly.
Now, why do you think they're even receptive to that, though, when you think about it?
Well, the restaurants that have been receptive were restaurants where the owners or the managers trained with us lost 50, 60, 100 pounds.
Oh, okay.
Realized, wow, you changed my life. We could incorporate this in the restaurant and change more lives. At the same time, it's good for business because we have a place to, we have places to send people to for those meals,
Elisa Bickler says they taste great too. And Lance wants me to tell the Arnold Calf story, but we're going to work that in a second. Anything else about the eating, John? Because we're going to go to our little list.
Yeah, let me tell you something. It's very critical. It's a very important point, because people say, wow, you really train your clients, I mean, we have 55-year-old ladies doing 30 sets for back or 30 sets for shoulders, People say, oh, it's overtraining, it's this and that. You can't argue with success.
No.
You can't argue with, the bag lady on the corner can't say that the millionaire don't know what the heck he's doing when it comes to investing his money,
That's right.
And, I always say, you could say whatever you want about UltraFit, but there's no way I can guarantee you I put money on the table. Last year, I had $1,000 in my hand. I said, with $1,000 in my hand, I said, I will give $1,000 cash to anyone who could show me more results, a better quality program, and more success than UltraFit. And there wasn't one person who could come up with anything. And really, that's, it really comes down to results. I'm a result person. You could dazzle me with all kinds of bullshit, but unless you can show me results, I had this one trainer came to me and she said, I want to talk to you. She was a trainer with me for 2 weeks. And she said, I disagree with your philosophy with UltraFit. And I said, really? I said,
the overall philosophy?
Yeah, and she was pretty bold, and I give her credit for being bold.
Yeah.
She sat down with me and she said, I disagree with your philosophy for UltraFit. I don't think a person can get in shape without cutting their carbs. I said, okay. I said, well, I have thousands of testimonials. I said, here's what we'll do. First I said, okay, fine. And I didn't say anything else. And she said, see, that's your problem, John. And she was bold. She said, that's your problem, John. You don't listen. You don't listen. I'm telling you how I feel, and you don't listen. And I said, listen, I'll tell you what. Tomorrow, let's meet back here at the same time. You bring me before and after pictures of what you believe is the right program, and I'll bring you a few hundred before and after pictures from UltraFit, and we'll compare. And if you have more to show me than I have to show you, then I'll give you the whole day. I'll listen to everything you have to say, and then we'll go from there. Well, yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I don't care about anything but results, and it really comes down to this. So here's my point. We train our clients and we challenge them. I guarantee you Our clients train harder than any clients in any training organization in the world. But what I found is, and the reason for that is not only because that hard training stimulates the muscle and helps them to burn fat, but I find that the harder you train, the more you are committed to the nutrition. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's what I say. If anybody could come into the Shark Tank, into my personal gym, and let me take them through a workout, and when that workout is over, if they go out and have pizza or Subway or any type of junk food, I would say that they would need to be committed, because it's never happened. No one ever went through a workout with me, completed the workout, and went out and ate junk, because the thought process is, I just committed and worked my ass off, and the last thing I'm going to do is going to blow that by eating something bad. And I always parallel that to, if you worked a 60-hour week, at the end of the week, and I hand you a check and say, Michael, you did a great job. Here's your check for a great week. You worked really hard in. Are you going to take that check and rip it up? Absolutely not. You're going to cherish that check. You're going to cash that check, and you're going to do what you feel you need to do with that check, because you value the fact that you work really hard to get that check. And that's how it should be. If you work hard in your workout, you're going to stay committed to the diet. This is a difficult time, because when people don't work out because they're confined or they're quarantined and they don't have a gym, it makes them feel like, well, I'm not working out, so why should I diet? So then they end up eating bad, and they end up gaining fat, and that's fine. Listen, I truly believe that there's times that you need to take a break, enjoy life, eat crap. But what I don't believe is, once you hit that workout, you have to commit. I never, ever train hard and eat garbage. If I'm going to eat bad, I'm going to take a month, a year. I'm going to eat what I want. I'm not going to train. I'm going to take a break. But then the other 11 months, I'm going to commit 100%, because I'm not going to go in that gym and train my ass off and then come out and eat a pizza and have some ice cream. It's not going to happen.
It's all or none.
Yep.
John, on a quick tip, we should have got a little more into this, but we'll have you back on again, because you're one of our best interviews. You trained all these years and you've never been injured lifting weights. Why do you see so many people now? They just dial it in. They expect to have a bad back, a avulsed bicep tendon, what have you, torn quadriceps, all this stuff, and they're just a swath of scar tissue by the time they're 8 years in or so. Why is that? Because they're not engendering health. You know this, back many years ago, this was called physical culture, and the guys, Grimmick and those guys, actually trained for health, and they happened to look muscular. So it was really a healthy endeavor. Now, of course, it's supposed to be, but it really isn't, as far as people who are at least starting off. I mean, I've never been injured for different reasons, but training differently. But I was always mindful of, I want to keep going, I want to keep doing it. So why do you think, for you as an individual, I mean, I know you had some other problems from life in general, but you've been relatively unscathed after all of this pounding. So that's good longevity right there. Why is that?
It's real simple. Let's say you wanted to run and eventually run a marathon. And I take you out tomorrow and I say, okay, let's go with 26 miles. We're going to run. Okay. Somewhere between 0 to 26 miles, you're going to faint. You're going to pass out. You're going to tear a hamstring. Because you bit off more than you could chew. I'm all about intensity, increasing the levels of intensity. And with UltraFit, there are many, many levels of intensity, going from a beginner who's never trained up to the Olympia level. Okay. Now, if you take a beginner and you challenge them beyond what they're capable of, they're going to be injured. Okay. So a lot of guys, they get a bodybuilding magazine and they read what the champions are doing. Okay. So, hey, you know what? Ronnie Coleman is doing, 800-pound squats, and he's doing this. He's going, all out. Okay. Or they look at John Defendis's workout training for the USA, 60 sets, let me go in there and do 60 sets. Okay. It's got to be a process, and everybody wants to microwave everything. They want it tomorrow. They want to be trained today and wake up tomorrow with a physique. And there's a process. So as much as I'm about intensity, I'm also about training smart and taking a person through that process. So I'll give you an example. Mrs. Smith comes in, and she's never trained before, and she's 50 pounds overweight. So you know what? For legs, we may do 2 sets of leg extensions and 2 sets of seated leg curls. You know, the next workout, it may be 2 sets of leg extensions, 2 sets of leg press, 2 sets of seated leg curls. You know, 3 or 4 workouts in, 2 sets of extensions, squats, 2 sets of squats, 2 sets of leg press, 2 sets of leg curls. Okay. 10 weeks into the workout, she's doing 12 leg extensions, which is an advanced principle we have. She's cycling squats, leg presses, and lunges. Okay, it's that process you have to go through. If you're not willing to go through the process, if you want to fast forward, you know, day 1 or the week 1 to what should be week 10, you're going to get injured. If you're trying to handle more weight, you're going to get injured. You see guys doing leg presses, they stack out the leg press, put 1,000 pounds on the leg press, and they do these, you know, where they put their hands on their knees and they come down 1 inch or 2 inches and they push with their knees. You're going to get a knee injury if you're going to do that, number 1. Sometimes you're going to hyperextend the knee because you're using too much weight and they throw it up and boom, it hyperextends the knee. So you have
John, I want to just address one question because my good friend Sergio Antonio Castro, he's on the fast track to a professional baseball career, good young guy. He says this, that's also, he's asking this, is that also how muscular injuries can happen also, correct? Eating crap after an intense training session, but the body is begging for actual nutrients to repair when it's broken down, but you're not giving it.
Well, yeah, 2 things. And that's another reason for the cardio, you know, for no cardio. I mean, people criticize me. I have to laugh. They say, you know, this no cardio thing is bullshit. How do you
really get slander on that from people?
Oh my gosh, people all day long say, "Oh man, I can't believe that no cardio." That that where'd you come up with that? That's really bullshit, you know. And I said, really? I said, so again, I go back to results. Again, I'm going to show you thousands of pictures of results, and you're going to show me a person that did cardio for 6 months, lost 2 pounds, and quit. You know, I've watched it. This is the 45th year that I've been involved with gyms. I managed gyms from the time I was 17 years old. And I have watched hundreds of thousands of people come in and do the treadmill, the elliptical, the stair machine, the Stairmaster, and literally get no results.
You don't even have an exercise bike in the Shark Tank?
No, absolutely no cardio at all.
Not even for like a coat rack? that's
not even for a warm-up. You know, people tell me, well, you know, I think that, you know, cardio is good for a warm-up. Okay, so I'm going to do chest. I'm going to walk on a treadmill for 5 minutes. How is that going to warm up my chest?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend 5 minutes warming up my chest.
By doing chest, correct.
Back, I'm going to spend 5 minutes stretching out my back, warming up my back. What is the treadmill going to do? If I do the treadmill, how is that going to warm up my back so that I don't hurt my back? I mean, you know, all these years and, you know, keeping my body healthy and keeping it safe. I tell you, the only time I've had a problem was 2 years ago when I let my ego take over, and I'm doing it's 60 years old, doing 330-pound presses for sets of 12, you know, to show the 25-year-old guys that, you know, they got a ways to go, you know. So what do? I wore out my shoulder, my left shoulder, because let my ego, the one mistake I never made, I let my ego get a hold of me, you know.
That's a killer, the ego. Sean Huber, our good friend, he says, with your workout, your heart rate is much better than doing cardio, like at the Muscle Factory back in the day. No cardio, and your posing was your cardio.
Well, your posing, your training. I mean, you know, I have to laugh. People talk to me about cardio. Say, hey, let me take you through a workout. All right. So we're going to do 30 rep squats. Okay. So right now you're going to do 30 reps. And then I'm going to take you right to the leg press, which is 5 feet away from the squat rack. And you're going to do 20 reps on the leg press. The second you get off the leg press, you're going to do 15 reps, alternate short step crossover lunges, which is completely different than a regular lunge, which is stupid. Works the same area as your squats or your leg press. So I have a short step crossover lunge where you're crossing over in front of your opposite foot, just enough so your the toes come to the back of the heels. And you're doing 30 rep squats, 20 rep leg presses, 15 reps each leg on the crossover lunges, and then right away we're increasing the weight and we're doing 30 rep squats again, okay? And we're doing that for 5 cycles, okay? Now, you're going to tell me that during those 5 cycles that you're not doing cardio, but that person doing that 4-minute walk on the treadmill, like, clueless, totally clueless, bored out of their mind, going nowhere, literally like a gerbil on a wheel, okay? That's not going to get anyone in shape. It never did. It never will.
Hey, John, 2 more questions, then we'll do our list. But because I promise this isn't cardio, but I got to do my nightly walk with Denise.
Sure.
We don't have a gym, so we walk briskly. And there's some dogs that are on the attack, so we do speed it up sometimes. So your type of training is the fountain of youth, you would say?
Yeah, I think strength training is the key, because increasing your lean muscle or maintaining your muscle as you get to be 50 and 60 and older is the key to longevity, because you're increasing your metabolic rate, you're working the heart. Of course, nutrition has a big part of it. A lot of people don't realize how important nutrition is when it comes to the heart. I mean, they're so focused on, I got to do cardio for my heart. Hey, while you're eating, Doritos and scarfing down fatty cheeseburgers,
First thing that comes to mind, what's the number 1 threat to society's health today?
Salt and sugar. Two. So I have 3 demons. I call them 3 demons. The ultra fit 3 demons are saturated fat, not in this order. Salt, I believe, is the worst. It just destroys your body. Salt, sugar, and fat, saturated fat. Those 3.
Yeah, that'll do it. Poison. I got a list for you here, John, and you're going to just come up with a sentence or 2 for each person. All right, and we haven't gone over this, so first thing that comes to your mind. Tread gingerly now. Lee Haney.
Lee Haney is, I would say, the greatest champion and ambassador for bodybuilding in the history of the sport. Well, Arnold was incredible, but the thing with Lee is a God-fearing, God-loving man that always does the right thing. He's got a tremendous amount of integrity. And he's a great friend for, Lee is going back 38 years. 82 is when I met Lee. I was a favorite to win the America that year. Me and Rory Liedermeyer, neither of us went in. Lee went in and won. He beat Mendenhall. And but Lee is probably one of the greatest champions that ever walked this opposing platform, ever walked on opposing platform.
Samir Bannout,
the greatest shaped, most beautiful physique in the history of the sport. Absolutely incredible lines, in top shape, unbeatable. I don't think anyone in the world in Samir Bannout's best shape, unbeatable. Nobody could touch Samir in his best shape. Also, an incredible human being that really cares about people, and he's got a big heart. A friend of mine now for 41 years. I met Samir in '79 at Gold's Gym, the original Gold's Gym. And hold on just 1 second. Give me a second.
Everybody like this. If you want, you could type in. I've still got some people on here, which is good. We've held everybody's attention. Type in who you'd like to hear. We know a lot of people. We could probably get almost everybody to come on here and you ask the questions and have contact with the best in human history. I mean, what better opportunity can you possibly have? I'm sorry, John.
No, that's okay. So yeah, Samir, also a great human being that really cares about people. He's got a good heart. Just a really phenomenal guy. Just a really phenomenal guy.
Tom Platz.
Hardest training MFer that you ever seen. How many
percentage points more than you?
It's different. I don't believe Tom has any. I don't think he feels pain. It's like if you watch Tom train, you're saying there's no way that he has nerves or that he feels pain, because Tom could train at a level that was just unimaginable. I mean, I was very proud of my training. Taking 4th is the hardest training bodybuilder in history. I'm really proud of that, because work ethic is important to me, and intensity, just drive, that intensity always meant the world to me. But Platz had it, man. You watch him train. he'd do that set till that he couldn't move. I mean, go to complete failure. Mind-boggling. I mean, and also a great gentleman and a great ambassador for the sport.
Yeah, so far we're only surrounding ourselves with people we want to be around, the best people. Tanya Knight.
You know, Tanya was a great champion in the 80s and 90s. I mean, just phenomenal bodybuilder and great ambassador for women's bodybuilding. Beautiful body, beautiful. I mean, just a beautiful girl overall. But I'd say the greatest thing about Tanya is not her body, her shape, her presence on stage, because she had great stage presence, incredible posing routines, incredible champion. But what really made Tanya, what makes Tanya is her heart. She's got probably the greatest heart and cares about people more than any other woman bodybuilder in the history of the sport. I mean, a great friend of mine. I'm proud to know her, and I'm proud to be her friend, and just really, really great for the sport.
Just a quick question, because we have one more on the list, but Mike Soto just asked, have you ever met Serge Nubret?
You know, I've met just about everybody. I've been to Arnold's house. I've met Sergio Oliva when we were inducted in the Bodybuilding Hall of Fame together. Samir has been great friends, Platts, everybody. I've met everybody. Serge Nubret is the one man I haven't met, and I kind of wish I did. He was, I mean, a great champion, incredible physique. Incredible physique.
Another legend like you, John. And finally, the last one on this list, and you got to put in the story about the calves, because Lance reminded me of that. Arnold.
Arnold is the king. Without Arnold, the sport would have never gotten anywhere. I believe that, you know, Weeder was great and he was good for the sport, but without Arnold, the sport would never have gotten off the ground. I mean, it was in the basement, you know, when I was growing up. I mean, it was not, you know, it did not have the popularity that it eventually gained over the years. And, you know, that's attributed to Arnold and Arnold's charisma, Arnold's physique, Arnold's presence. I mean, everything about Arnold was incredible. But in the 80s, I was doing a photo session for Weeder for Muscle and Fitness, and Weeder flew me out to California. And while I was there, Bill Dobbins and Weeder took me to Arnold's house for a party. It was a private party, and Platts was there, and it was only a few people, maybe 12 or 15 people. And
was Franco there? Because David Palmer just asked about Franco. Was Franco?
No, Franco wasn't there. Arnold, it was Arnold. The girl from Cassandra from Conan was there. Arnold was bouncing her up and down on his knee. I'll never forget that. And you know, Arnold with his typical jokes. Something's coming up. You know, I'm like, okay. But when they introduced me to Arnold, we said, you know, this is John Defendis. He's got the best calves in the world, because my calves could split. I could really do some neat stuff with my calf. And so after I talked to Arnold a little bit about Mensa and about training, I went and I spent some time with Platts, because I had already known Platts. I was friends with Platts. And Platts, we were sitting in the living room, and Platts said, "Hey, man, Johnny, have some wine." And he handed me some wine. Here, drink some wine, you know. And I said, No, Tom, I'm good, man. I got the photos tomorrow. I don't want to blow it, you know. No, Johnny, I'm telling you, man, you got to have some wine. You calm you down. You look better tomorrow. And I kept saying, no. So I asked Tom, where's the bathroom? He said, you go down that hallway. And so as I went down the hallway, there was all the swords from the Conan movie on the walls, you know. And here I am, this 20-something-year-old kid who's doing photos for Muscle and Fitness, first time ever, and I'm excited about that. And now I'm at Arnold's house, and I met Arnold, and I'm looking at the Conan swords, and I'm like a kid. It's like a fascinated child looking at the swords like I was looking at a big bag of candy, you know. And as I'm looking at the sword, the main sword that Arnold had in the movie, it said, Conan had a plaque on it. And I'm staring at it, and all of a sudden I hear, "Defendis." And I look down the hallway, and there's Arnold at the end of the hallway. And I look at him, and he says, "Defendis, up with the pants. Let me see the calves." I'm like, carbs? What's carbs? I mean, the carbs. I didn't have any carbs today. It's like, so he says, up with your pants. Let me see the carbs. So I realized, he wants to see my calves. Wow, that's pretty cool. Arnold's asking to see my calves. So I pull up my pant leg, and I'm proud, man. I'm flexing my calf. I'm doing a split with my calf like a heartbeat. It would look like a heartbeat.
Well, John, you're in shape there for a photo shoot, right?
Right. I'm in top shape for a photo shoot. Right. So I'm splitting my calf and I'm making it beat like a heartbeat. And I'm proud. Look, hey, man, Arnold's checking out my calf. And Arnold goes, Defendis, those carbs, no good. They're high like Louis. And he turns around and he walks away.
Ferrigno.
Now, yeah, like Lou Ferrigno. So I'm standing there with my pant leg up. Holy shit, Arnold just insulted me, right? So I'm like, as I'm putting my calf, I'm defeated. I'm like putting my pant leg down, and I go to the bathroom. I come back, I sit down with Platts, and I'm like a little perplexed. And Platts says, Johnny, what's up? And I go, nothing. He goes, what's the matter? Something wrong? I was. Arnold came over to the hallway and he said, let me see your calves. And I was all excited, showing my calf. And he kind of just, the calves no good. They're high like Louis. And so Platts goes, that motherfucker. He does that all the time, man. He likes to mess with you, man. He likes to mess with you. And then it was a little while later that we were outside in the backyard, and I'm sitting there with Platts. It was me, Platts, and what do you call it?
Dobbins.
Roger Khaled.
Oh, Khaled, yeah, Roger.
I was with Roger, and so we were back there laughing and joking around. Arnold came out. He was messing with all of us, but Arnold was always messing with everybody. But it was, for me, it was he insulted me, but it was probably the greatest insult I ever had in my life because
I would take it.
It was Arnold. I mean, he at least cared enough to even address it with me.
Yeah.
And it's a memory I'll never forget because I've met Arnold several times and talked to him several times, but that time was, it was at Arnold's personal house, and it was a very intimate, event. It was really cool.
Well, John, you've done something, and we're going to close out because this has been fantastic. But you've done things, and I just say these things. They're not meant to gain favor or curry happiness or anything, but it's incredibly, it's almost impossible to become the best in the world at anything, darts, it doesn't matter. And even to be among the rarefied air, the people who occupy the pantheon of greats like you do. So there you were at your point, the top amateur in the country, and you're with probably the greatest bodybuilder ever at that time. And so just to be measured among those folks, it's quite a thing. You're only 21, just like you said, all of a sudden you're catapulted out there. And a few years earlier, you were in your basement, reading these magazines that your postman father brought home, and you're seeing these people in celluloid. Now you see them in person with the sword right on the wall. Maybe you should have took the sword out and filleted them a little, man. That would have showed them. That would have provided a memory.
that was some event, I think, in closing, I appreciate what you said. It's very humbling. But I think, the biggest thing is what we have to recognize is that, the fans are there. What a bonus, what a blessing to have people that look up to you for what you've accomplished. And
John, isn't it, just to cut you off, and I didn't cut you off that much.
Sure, okay.
But, it is important to find people who appreciate. And I do think, there's goodness now. You could find goodness anywhere. But, really, back in those days, people had a different appreciation. And number one, it was smaller. There wasn't as many of us, so everybody knew everybody. There wasn't social media. You weren't able to take a picture and put yourself on Instagram and get, a million people to, follow you, whatever that means. So yeah, when you're able to make an impact and show some value to people who appreciate, that's what we're trying to draw here as we build this. Mm-hmm. And you do that, and I think it's important to continue to do that. And I think you're too old now to get beaten down by, not old in the old sense, but you know what I mean. You've been around too long, where you're going to just do what you do without apology, and certain people are going to stick. and most probably won't. You got to find.
You know, and I think, you know, we came from a generation of we were the pioneers back in the 70s. And, you know, Mike Katz, of course, the guy who worked with you, and great champion, Mike, Pete Leonetti. I'm sure you remember Pete Leonetti.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep.
You know, Peter beat me in the Teenage USA. You know, Peter and then who was it that trained with Platts and Pump and Iron? Joe Ugolick.
Oh, Ugolick, yeah.
You know, Joe Ugolick. I mean, I come from that era, an era where we truly appreciate great bodybuilders. Richard Baldwin won the America in his class. I think when I was in the Teenage America, Joe Means. I mean, these guys, I truly appreciate these guys. And, you know, some of them will look at it and say, well, John, you surpassed what I accomplished. But I don't care how far I went or what I accomplished. Without those people and that inspiration from those great bodybuilders back then, I would have never accomplished my goals, you know, and I respect those people. And, you know, it's hard today because a lot of the current people don't respect, you know, or even know the history of the sport because they're so consumed with Instagram and social media and where they're at now, instead of looking back and saying, you know, look at the people that pioneered the sport, like the Joe Means and the Richard Baldwins and Arnold and Sergio and Serge Nubret and, you know, all these great champions. I respect that, and it's just I'm just glad to be a part of it. You know, I
feel you'll agree that almost all people want to do good. They want to do the right thing. They want to grant respect. They want to be respected. But somewhere between getting up in the morning and going through your day and before you collapse into bed, people go in the wayward direction and they do the wrong things, or they take the wrong course, or they ignore the right people. And I think there's so many distractions now, whereas back in the day there wasn't. But I do want to thank you right now, John, because I'm very Stranahan and I, Lance. When you call somebody, are you from the neighborhood back in the day? Like when you called somebody by their last name, that meant like you want to go outside and fight them. I don't like it's kind of disrespectful. You know, Defendis, I would never do that. But Lance Stranahan, Lance and I, we still remember the magazines that inspired us. And I'm sitting here with you right now, and back in '78, that picture of you winning the Suburban in the back of Muscle Builder, I remember it vividly. And you were only 19. I wasn't, I was 14, I guess. I'm like, that's what I've got to do in 5 years. I didn't, but it made that picture is still burned into my head today. And here I am talking to you. And to me, that's a gift because, you know, everybody has a job they don't like maybe, and they're working really hard to free themselves up to do the things they want to do. And most of the time they never end up doing that. Then they retire and 2 years later they die. But here I am, you know, making myself able to reach out to the guys that hopefully help me do some good, you know. And just like you saw Joe Means, and Joe Means said to you, no, there's no comparison. Right. That's not what it's about at all. Maybe for one day on a year in a contest, but outside of that, no. So I thank you, John. I thank you. And I wish more.
I appreciate that. Another thing too is like Facebook has 5,000 friends, and I have to say that I wish it had more, because I don't believe in fans. If you're my fan, you're my friend. And I look at this over the years. People say, "Oh, I've been a big fan of yours." You know, a lot of the bodybuilders on like old school bodybuilding, I've been a big fan of yours. I say, "No, you know what? You're my friend." And I anybody who appreciates the effort, the commitment, and the time that I've invested in creating the physique and then using that physique to try to inspire other people, the greatest compliment that I ever get or ever have gotten is not, you know, you had a great physique, but you've really inspired me. You know, I think that it's not what we do for ourselves that really make us who we are, or what make us, or what allows people to remember us by, but what we do for other people. And you said it today, you know, people always want to know what can I get out of this for me, you know?
Yeah.
I think the greatest compliment I've ever received is you've inspired me. And I hope that till the day I die, each day I could at least inspire one person to be able to recognize that they have potential and they go after their goals and accomplish greatness in their own way for whatever that endeavor is. It may not be bodybuilding. It may be baseball. It may be football. It may be being a doctor. But, you know, inspiring people is the most important thing to me in my life. Not the titles, not the, you know, the bodybuilding or the physique, but what have I done to make a difference in someone else's life? And I think that's really important. And it's not a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I think the people that know me, and as you hear me,
you can tell just by listening to it.
I mean, I'm a straightforward guy. My life is an open book, and you know, it's really inspiring people. When I die, the greatest thing if they could write something on my tombstone, it would be inspired a lot of people. John Defendis inspired a lot of people. Period.
Two things: don't die, and I'm glad you exist, my friend.
Thank you.
And for everybody who's followed tonight, we had a lot of people. That's good. First time we did this, and it's a series now. Give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. You can do it even after this. We thank you very much. Let me know who you'd like to hear. And John's going to come on periodically because he's a wealth of information. And I could get more than one person on here. So maybe we'll get somebody in tandem with John that either you or he suggests, as long as it's valuable and it offers information that is of utility to everyone and makes people happy and it does good. You know, we never tear anybody down. No negative stuff. We got enough of that. You can go find that anywhere, but not here. But John, I want to thank you, my friend. We're going to clock out now, everybody. Thank you. And John, I'm going to give you a call.
Thank you for having me on. And to everyone that's watching this or has watched it or watches it in the future, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And so does Michael. So, Michael, thanks again. And I'll talk to you soon, bro.
All right, John. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.